The ancient port city of Patara, nestled on the sun-drenched coast of what is now modern-day Turkey, was a vibrant hub.
It was the 3rd century Anno Domini, a time when empires rose and fell.
The light of Christianity was just beginning to truly challenge the shadows of paganism. Here, around the year 270, a boy named Nicholas was born into wealth and piety.
His parents, deeply devoted to the burgeoning Christian faith, instilled in him a singular virtue: charity.
They taught him that true wealth was not measured in gold or land, but in the abundance of one's spirit.
And the willingness to share.
Young Nicholas grew up privileged, but not spoiled.
He was a solemn, watchful child who saw the world not through the tinted glass of his family's opulent villa,
But through the stark, unfiltered reality of the streets.
he saw the fishermen struggling with meager catches,
The widows shivering in thin shrouds.
and the children whose hollow-eyed hunger was a silent accusation against his own comfort. His gentle heart ached with what the theologians would call compassion, a profound, almost painful empathy.
That compelled him to act.
He was only a teenager when tragedy struck. A virulent plague swept through Patara.
Claiming the lives of both his loving parents.
The loss was immense. But it brought with it a tremendous inheritance. Nicholas was suddenly one of the wealthiest young men in the province.
The temptation to live a life of lavish self-indulgence was a siren call that would have lured most men.
But Nicholas remembered his parents' final, whispered wish. Use the gifts of God to serve his people.
He vowed to become a shadow of divine aid. He began to sell his vast properties, quietly, discreetly, transforming brick and mortar into bags of jingling gold.
He did not seek recognition, public praise, or even simple gratitude.
His mission was simple and profound: to alleviate suffering in absolute secrecy.
He believed that a gift publicly given was tainted by the giver's pride. A true act of charity was one known only to the benefactor and God.
It was in the city of Myra, where Nicholas later settled and was ordained as a bishop.
That his legend was forged in the quiet darkness of a winter night.
The city was home to a respected nobleman, once a pillar of the community, who had fallen into ruinous poverty.
He was a good man, but disastrous investments and chronic illness had stripped him of everything save the roof over his head.
In that era, a young woman without a dowry was utterly unmarriageable.
She was a burden, a social outcast, doomed to a life of destitution.
For the daughters of a ruined nobleman, the descent into desperation was swift and terrible.
The nobleman, blinded by despair and the grim fear of starvation.
The air in their small, dilapidated house was thick with unspoken grief. The father wept in silence.
And the three girls prayed to an unresponsive heaven.
Nicholas, through his network of quiet observers, learned of the family's plight.
His heart twisted with sorrow and urgency. He knew he had to act fast before the nobleman crossed the point of no return.
That very night, under the cloak of deepest midnight, Nicholas bundled a heavy purse filled with gleaming gold coins.
He approached the nobleman's house, not through the door that would risk exposure, but to the chimney. The hearth was cold, but above it, hanging near the dying embers to dry, were the family's freshly laundered stockings.
With a prayer whispered into the cold night air, Nicholas dropped the heavy purse.
It tumbled silently down the chimney, landing with a gentle clink directly into one of the coarse wool stockings.
He vanished as quickly as he had appeared. A shadow melted into the Myran darkness.
The following morning, the eldest daughter discovered the purse. And not only to save the family from starvation,
The house erupted, not in wild celebration.
And so the eldest daughter, blessed with true love, walked toward her happily ever after.
But the nobleman's burden was only half lifted. He still had 2 daughters to save.
A few months later, the chilling specter of poverty returned.
Again, Nicholas acted, under the same starless night sky.
He approached the house and dropped a second bag of gold down the chimney.
Where it landed squarely in the second daughter's stocking. The pattern repeated itself. The second daughter was soon married.
My middle daughter, radiant and blessed on her wedding day. A father could not ask for more joy.
And the nobleman was filled with a mix of joy and burning curiosity.
Who was this mysterious, generous soul? He was determined to discover his family's savior.
When the time came for the youngest daughter, the nobleman did not sleep. He waited by the hearth, watching the chimney opening, prepared to leap out and thank the mysterious benefactor.
Nicholas, sensing the man's alertness, was more cautious than ever. He approached the house a third time, knowing this final gift would complete the miracle. Seeing the windows dark and the door locked, he climbed onto the roof.
Found the opening of the chimney and dropped the final, heaviest purse of gold.
The nobleman, who had been dozing near the fire, heard the final, satisfying thud. He rushed out, caught Nicholas just as the bishop was slipping away into the night, his face hidden by his hood. The nobleman fell to his knees in the dust. "Nicholas, my lord, why did you hide your great kindness?"
Promise me, my friend, promise me you will tell no one of this. Do not diminish God's glory by giving praise to his humble servant.
The nobleman, overwhelmed, agreed. But a secret so bright could not remain buried forever.
The tale spread through Myra, passed from whisper to whisper.
The details of the stockings and the chimney making the story a legend.
This quiet, midnight act of generosity, the anonymous distribution of gold for the salvation.
Saint Nicholas was born not in a church, but in the silent, selfless act of giving,
which forever linked him to the spirit of secret gifts and hope in the darkest hour.